Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining and welcome back to Wall Street Bullion. Our guest today is a good friend of ours, the professor of chemistry at Cornell University, Dave Collum. Welcome back, Dave.
I'm glad to be here, as I should apologize up front. I've staged it well. It's on my deck. You can see the background. I'll show the viewers how
Nice.
spectacular that is.
Yeah, that's
Um,
beautiful.
but that's because my son's playing a violin inside the house, and I have 8 dogs running around, which you'll occasionally hear, as my guess. And so it's going to be a little chaotic.
No, you know what? We really appreciate giving us the views today. I wanted to get you down to talk about everything that's happening in the gold and silver markets, Dave. Last time we were talking, gold was around the 3,100 mark, 3,200 mark. We're at $4,000 gold today. What's happening in precious metals? Does it concern you a bit? What are your thoughts?
Anyone who says they know what's happening, I think, are lying or delusional. There are a number of possible explanations, in my opinion, all of which are credible. Uh, it could be a blow off top. It could be something really bad is coming our way that the market's sensing or that the insiders actually know.
Yeah.
It could be that it's finally just gotten the attention that it deserves. And so as to what you do about it, well, I've been holding gold since '99, so I won't do anything about it. But as I told you before we started recording, a friend of mine just emailed me and said he sold half his gold. He just decided it was just getting too vertical for his taste.
Yeah.
So
And I don't know if you know this, Dave, but Morgan Stanley came out this week and they said for the longest time, their perspective and their advice to their clients was 60% stocks, 40% bonds, the 60/40. They've now come out and said 60% stocks, 20% gold, 20% bonds. So they're
do,
advising now.
do you know what would happen if gold became a 20% holding? That represents crudely somewhere between a 20 and 40-fold increase in the price of gold relative to other.
Yeah, they're telling their clients, Morgan Stanley, to sell off bonds and get into gold, 20% from zero.
20%. Because what happens is what this is what people they bought. They talk about money flows and stuff. Money doesn't flow. Money doesn't flow. If I bought your car, you can say, "Well, my money flowed," but you now have the money. It still exists. So
Right.
so and the car still exists. So it's just a change in ownership. But if half if a half a percent allocation to gold is the norm, it could be as high as a percent now. I don't know because it's gone up. Um, if you increase the allocation to gold fivefold, then you actually have to grow the price of that asset fivefold relative to the other assets.
Right.
And so that's just a monstrous prediction. A 20%, if that became the norm, would make the gold holders be putting gold on their eyeballs, and we'd be called godlers, and so it really is. Hold on,
No worries.
right there.
Hey, how's it
I
going?
have I have I have 6 more of these guys running around the house right now,
Exact same
and
breed?
yes, and a Labrador Retriever,
Oh man, that must be a handful.
right?
Yeah, but Morgan Stanley
So
and others, like I think others will follow if they now see Morgan Stanley saying, "Hey, this is our perspective. We want our clients to go into gold." What happens with other financial institutions and other investors saying, "You know what? Let's sell bonds and get into gold."
So you can see this sort of coming because guys who've been saying it for a while but are now saying it emphatically, like Dalio and stuff like that.
Right.
Gunlock said 25% gold. I mean, that's just an extraordinary allocation to gold. I mean, they don't even allocate that much to Nvidia.
Hello, my silver and gold bugs. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching the video. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and also hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. Back to the video. Right. Yeah, that's crazy. That and now, well, maybe they see something has changed. I don't know if it's, the purchase. Like, I mean, already the purchasing power has already devalued. I don't know, an insane amount since conception, but maybe now we're getting to that boiling point.
Maybe, I'm hoping it's just the beginning, but it was someone said, I guess it was Rickard said, if gold ever goes to 50,000, it's not a world you want to be in either.
No,
So,
that would be chaos, bank collapses,
well,
and all.
50,000 isn't even what, if everyone did a Morgan Stanley move, it would not stop at 50,000
Wow, that's incredible. What you're
unless the markets drop. The
right?
markets cut by a factor of 10, then you get there pretty fast. But
Yeah. Now, I don't know if you know this either, but this past month, Saudi Arabia is now buying silver. Their central bank is now stockpiling silver.
really,
Yeah, they're buying silver. Now, the only issue is it's not physical, it's the SLV.
and there's a debate as to whether that puts pressure on the silver supply or not. That's the debatable part. I've never trusted the ETFs to be a demand on the physical market.
Yeah.
There's claims that it's allocated somewhere, but yeah, it's allocated like could be here, could be there, could be anywhere. Shut the hell up.
Yeah.
You know.
What's your biggest concern right now? Like, because gold is going up, silver is going up, and there's still talks of the White House and everyone putting pressure on the Fed to lower interest rates, which we all know historically, you lower interest rates, of course, you print more money, gold is going to increase in value. So even with the increase now, what happens when they lower interest rates? What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm not sure. I think the correlation between lower rates and asset price changes is as well understood as that. So half the country thinks that if you lower interest rates, stocks go up, and that's just completely counterfactual. If
Right.
you look at the last two um, rate lowering cycles, equities dropped 50% in both. And
Yeah.
so this idea that dropping rates is bullish it has no foundations in the 21st century.
Hmm.
And so I'm not sure what I'd predict with gold, right? It could be there's a liquidity problem coming, and maybe that'll influence the price of gold. I just don't know. I just
What's your biggest concern, Dave, other than whatever you have? Like, is there anything you have your eye on, or is there any concerns, whether it's geopolitically, financially, whether it's with this administration? What's your biggest concern?
World War III. Um, uh, it Social unrest in the United States is certainly on the rise, and you can make the argument that we're kind of in a civil war light right now. I mean, you got guys fighting ICE. You got guys who are defying the law. You've got politicians saying defy the law, and
Yeah,
so um, and I'm trying not to get sucked into rooting for my team, as you might call it, right? So I'm
right.
right of center. And I'm trying not to get sucked in because I think we're all being sucked into this game, and
Absolutely.
so to root against the other team and just I think you should root for stuff that makes sense, not just because it's the opponent, not just because the guys you're rooting against right now were douchebags for the last dozen years, right? Which,
Yeah.
in my opinion, they were. You still should root to get back to normal, not to all of a sudden dominate the game yourself. So,
What are your thoughts? What were your first initial thoughts after Charlie Kirk? I know a lot of people said after that assassination, people were saying, the civil war is now coming to United States. The left and right are now pinned against each other, and it's getting crazier. What were your initial thoughts after Charlie Kirk?
well, my very first thought, I put out a tweet that actually drew fire,
Hmm.
is I said that I was never Charlie's biggest fan.
Really? Why
And
is
so
that?
he always had a grifter feel to me.
Mm,
He seemed like a guy who spotted opportunity and took it, and I should give him some credit for that. But he always and I didn't find him to be a very warm human being. I didn't find him. He didn't do much for me, and I thought the grifter thing was real. I learned a lot more about things he had been saying after he died than before he died, right? And
right.
so now you got this problem where there's 10,000 theories as to what caused him to be assassinated and things like that. And I'm actually subscribing to one of the deepest and darkest of them all, and that is that I'm not convinced that anyone knows who Charlie Kirk and Erica Kirk actually are.
Mm, like a lot of people,
So,
I've seen some posts online about Erica Kirk was actually part of and Charlie was part of the Bilderberg group, and they've been to Bohemian Grove and all that
See, I
stuff.
haven't even heard that crap.
Yeah, no, they were
Okay.
there. They were
But
there.
Erica was part of a Romanian child organization that was accused of being involved in trafficking. And I
Really?
to boil it down to a simple model, I think it's possible that Charlie and Erica were both MK Ultra products that were joined together to serve a purpose. And
Wow.
and I watch Erica's presentation post assassination, and she looks totally inauthentic to me. She looks like she doesn't act like a grieving widow. She doesn't, and there ought to be some grieving just because she was spent a lot of time with the guy. But she, her memorial service looked like complete acting job. And they're doing everything they can to sell it to us, but she looked fake to me, and so that's what makes me say, well, then who is she?
Right.
If she's not a grieving widow, and there's even stupid little things like search Charlie Kirk's children on Google. Just when you're done, when you're watching this, stop the video for a second, search Charlie Kirk's children on Google. And what you'll find is there's no photos of Charlie Kirk's children showing their faces.
Really?
Now, yeah, yeah,
What
yeah.
the
Their
heck?
their faces are always covered. They're always either looking backwards or their face is covered with a Photoshop MAGA hat or something. I mean, there's some real Photoshop coverage. And you say, well, that's a responsible parent not letting their children being seen in public. Now, the
Right.
problem is those photos are all being taken by other people. By definition, they're not
Hmm.
selfies. And if Charlie and his wife were walking through the airport with their kids to go to their next gig, people would be taking photos.
Oh, for sure. There would be some photos out
and
online.
and you can't there's all sorts of images that make them look like a family man, but you can't see the family. And then is neither parents from either side went to the memorial service. They've not been in public in any way. They've not made any
Really?
state. They have not made statements. They've not. So there's a ghost story here. There's a real sort of, who are these people story. And I
Well,
haven't been able to shake it, even though it sounds like a preposterous theory.
I guess what would be the main motive or outcome for his assassination? Would it be just to incite more, uh, you know, division between the left and right, or what are your thoughts?
Maybe they needed a martyr.
Right, right, to be on the
Maybe,
right.
maybe, maybe their entire purpose was to support Israel, and then he stopped.
There's about $15 trillion worth of physical gold in the world sitting there costing money rather than being used is just absolutely insane. Monetary Metals is bringing gold back into the financial world, putting gold to productive use right now. The problem with gold, of course, in physical form is that it's heavy, it's cumbersome, it's not particularly easy to ship, and it costs money to store in a protected manner. This platform Monetary Metals created is a proven concept and allows gold to be put to productive use, so that instead of sitting there costing you money, it's actually in use earning you money.
Learn how you can earn 2 to 5% in our leasing program and how accredited investors can earn up to 12% on silver paid in silver. This advertisement is not investment or financial advice. Minimum investment applies.
I've seen that too. I've seen a lot of his text messages, or supposedly his text messages, which I'm sure they're. Someone said that they're facts, that they're real text. But he was talking about
Yeah, they got
Israel.
confirmed. They
Yeah,
got, at least by the TPUSA high command, they got confirmed.
right,
But he changed his view of Israel about 3 months ago, and he was a super Israel supporter.
right.
And so he was presenting a real problem, and anyone who thinks that Netanyahu couldn't assassinate someone is out of their minds, right? I
Oh,
mean,
for sure.
that guy's a ruthless animal, right? But I don't know. It's all pretty weird. I don't believe the one story I don't believe is the crazy solo gunman. That
No,
story seems to be completely ridiculous.
no, absolutely. Now, Dave, what do you have your eye on right now, other than what we just talked about previously, and of course, gold and silver? What do you have your eye on that's keeping you interested right now?
I just watched a video by two guys. One I know really well, David Einhorn, and another I've gotten to know kind of digitally pretty well, was Mike Green, and they talked about the change in the market structure.
Mm-hmm.
Einhorn talks about the market structure where it's no longer about, the value. So it's all prices, no value. And he's buying companies that have cash flows and dividends. And he's saying, look, I've totally rearranged my thinking. I do not need to figure out how to sell something. I need a company that produces a cash flow that I will be able to put in my pocket, right?
Right.
He seems to present the idea that this is a secular change. This is not just the temporary mania stage. Now,
Okay.
that's an alterate. That changes my thinking if that's true, because I've thought, okay, this will end,
Right.
and it will end catastrophically. And I do believe that to be true, but it could be the timescales that I think will make it end are just totally unreasonable. I think as soon as we have anything that slows down the passive flows, like recession, boomers, a much slower process of them retiring.
Right.
Anything that would trigger a selling of the passive flows could produce a cascading failure very quickly, because there'll be no buyers.
Right.
And if I sell $1,000 of a Vanguard index fund, they have to sell $1,000 worth of equities right away,
Okay.
because they have no cash cushion. Now, the interesting thing is, in the olden days, if the markets were getting jumpy and weird, I would have a portfolio and I'd be looking at it and I'd go, okay, so let's dump the NVIDIA, let's buy some Philip Morris, right? I mean,
Right.
you can't do that. You have one choice. You sell the market,
Right.
which means you could be a stock picker and be sitting on Philip Morris thinking this is a good buy because it has a PE of 11 or whatever it is now. I don't know what it is. And find out that it got to a PE of 5 because
Right.
it cut in half. And Hussman has addressed that. He says they do cut, those cheap stocks cut in half too. So,
Yeah, no, it's getting crazier. I guess the markets are being more. Well, I know they've a lot. We know that they're fake. The markets are fake and they're propped up, but I guess it's increasing. It's at an increasing rate now, Dave.
so here's the thing this is a bubble. They call it an everything bubble. But I think it's different than all the other bubbles in one sense. Every other bubble that I know of had a euphoric component to it.
What do you mean by that?
1929, it really looked like the world had fundamentally changed. Electricity, cars, airplanes, you name it, right?
Right.
And they thought this has to keep going, and it didn't. And the dot-com bubble, when the dot-com, the world had changed, right? The digital world had appeared, and it was just wildly going to alter modern existence, right? So there was always this euphoric, this reason to really sincerely at the bottom of your soul believe things had changed. The 1989 Nikkei bubble, we were sending management teams to Japan to find out how they learned to run companies so efficiently and stuff like that. And it was just a credit bubble. That's all it was.
Mm-hmm.
This bubble, as implicit in your question, if you replay the tape on your question, you said propped. And so this bubble, I don't think we're ever going to see euphoria, because we all know it's stupid.
Right.
We all know the AI story is a total crock of shit, right? I mean, there are no revenues. There are huge amounts of projected debt. There's vendor financing. There's round tripping. You'd be shocked if the AI story didn't blow to pieces at some point, right? You'd be shocked. So everyone who's in the market knows it's crazy, but they're still in the market. And it's not just FOMO. It's the belief that they will not let it drop. They being, who the hell is they?
Right. The
it
money
is
printers.
what I've been calling the complacency bubble.
Wow.
And that is, people think that they will be protected. What a stupid bit of thinking.
Yeah, of course, because it can all end this week. It can drop by 20, 30 points and percent the stock market, and it's over.
Well, it can also drop over the next 20 years.
Right.
That's way worse. Give me a 75% correction tomorrow. I'll take it any day.
Right. I'll just get in there.
Give me if like in the Nifty 50, 67 to 81, you lost 75%, inflation corrected.
Okay.
but you also burn 14 years.
Wow.
14 years is way more deadly than 75%.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Yeah, it's a third of your investing life,
Right.
which actually it turns out if you look at any window, any sort of 50-year window of investing time, somewhere in there is probably at least a third of it in which it's just completely dead money.
Mm-hmm.
If you can avoid one of those, you're going to do really well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Dave, I want to thank you so much for coming down and speaking to the silver and gold community. Every time you come on, it's a really nice feeling because we learn so much and we get, different perspectives and different opinions on the issues in the world. And of course, right now, gold skyrocketing. You know what? Maybe your friend is right. Maybe he's smart to take some profit. I think so. He is, but maybe not the whole truck. Did he sell everything?
He sold half his gold. Here, let me put a pitch for one thing that I
Sure,
think
sure.
is not only running like crazy, and I've been trying to catch it. I bought it like 7 times since the spring, and
Okay.
that's platinum. I think the fundamental story for platinum is correct. It's not just a price thing. Platinum supplies are very low. Platinum production is deeply deficit, such that we're supposed to run out of platinum in something like 2 years at the
Really?
current under the current status. So something's got to give real fast.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna, as I told you beforehand, my car just got declared DOA, so I gotta go buy it. I gotta go buy another car, which will consume some of the platinum in the world. Um, and, uh, and so the platinum fundamental story, if you dig into it, you find holy shit. It turns out hybrid use more platinum than ICEs, and so I think the platinum story is not just a meme stock. I think it's based on really profound fundamentals.
And historically, it was bigger than or higher in price than gold. It's used
which
in.
which which is nuts compared to now, right?
I know it's pretty crazy, and it's used in military applications. It's used in so many. It's
That's
used
right.
in. Yeah, it's used in lots. But Dave, I want to thank you so much for coming down. Such a huge, huge pleasure for you coming to speak to the silver, gold, and the precious metals community. And as everything develops, would love to have you back on in the future.
And here we go. One last shot at the euphoric. You should see the sunsets. That's facing west over
Wow.
Bugle Lake.
Yeah,
It is, it
that's a
is.
beautiful
I mean,
view.
it is a beautiful view.
Nice. Okay, I'll talk to you soon, Dave.
Adios.
Cheers.